I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight to support the Chamber. There's some specific thank yous, I think, that are in order. Certainly to Your Honour, Lieutenant Governor, to Speaker Scheer, Minister Doherty, and Councillor Fundura for your greetings, as well as Don McMorris on behalf of SaskTel. Thank you. There's some acknowledgements I'd like to make as well. I have some of my real estate industry colleagues here. I'd like to point out our board of directors. I see them sitting at a couple of tables over there, as well as the association staff. We have my family down here at the front, and certainly some friends and colleagues from around the city as well. Thank you for coming out. I would also like to acknowledge my fellow Chamber board members, and particularly Vice Chair Brian Brayton. I look forward to working with you, Brian, this upcoming year. And I'd also like to provide a special thank you to Dale Ripplinger. After some of his remarks, I'm not sure that I was going to do this or not, but I guess I will. As Dale mentioned, he was on the board of directors when I was hired at the association 20 years ago this year, in fact. We spent quite a bit of time traveling to national real estate meetings together, and we also worked together as the association's government relations team for quite a number of years. And we also served 1 year together on the board of directors of the Canadian Real Estate Association. I might add as well that Dale eventually did become president of the Canadian Real Estate Association a few years ago, and was only the second from Saskatchewan to attain that post, and the first one for Regina. So once again, Dale, congratulations around that. 2013 marks the 127th year for the Regina Chamber. Doing the math, that means its first year of activity was 1887. There are not too many institutions still around today that can say they were part of Regina in 1887, but the Regina Chamber, then known as the Board of Trade, can. This predates the incorporation of the city of Regina in 1903 by 16 years, the creation of the province of Saskatchewan in 1905 by 18 years, and what was at the time the Regina Rugby Club, now the Saskatchewan Roughriders, founded in 1910, by 23 years. In 1887, Regina was only a smattering of buildings and shacks sprung up along this new CPR line. Despite the dearth of amenities, there was something larger and deeper in play. A grand vision of the future for this fledgling community in the stark prairie landscape. This idea of the future was attracting many to the area from other parts of the country and abroad, looking for opportunity, their fortune, or even to set up a new business and make a buck or two. It's interesting that despite there only being a very small and burgeoning business community at the time, there was a recognition, even then, that speaking with a collective voice had much more weight than scattering of individual voices, particularly when it came to the federal government and CPR at the time. I would surmise that many of the questions being dealt with then related to growing the community. Questions such as, how do we use our resources? How do we create infrastructure? How will it be paid for? How should land be used? How do we attract newcomers? How do we develop an economy? And the list goes on. When you think about those questions being asked 127 years ago, for me at least, in many respects, they're not a lot different than they are today. They're about creating a better future founded on the beliefs of confidence, optimism, and hope. And the idea of that collective voice of the business community started 127 years ago, continues to this very day. This is still one critical thing that the Chamber does, speaking on behalf of members, to government, the public, community partners and players, and to others interested in doing business here. Today, the Chamber represents about 1,250 member businesses in Regina area, employing approximately 40,000 people and representing a significant portion of this area's economy. Regina has a reputation as being a government town, and there's no question that the public sector is a very important part of our economy and community. Did you know, though, that of the estimated 126,000 employees in the Regina CMA, that approximately 87,000 are either employed or self-employed in the private sector. That translates to close to 70% of all employees. Regina's private sector is the driving force behind the local economy. It not only creates employment, but it also generates investment opportunities, consumer goods and services, wealth, and revenue for governments for public services. So what are the issues facing Regina business today? Well, first and foremost, and this has been the case for the last couple of years, is the labor skills shortage. In the research that John Hopkins has done, we consistently hear from members that this is a critical issue. Growth has created the expansion of existing businesses, new national and international businesses setting up here, and many new local startups. In almost all cases, each of these will require hiring of new employees. And there's not just a skill shortage here, but it's also the case throughout most of Western Canada, and it's becoming more acute over time. Business needs to be creative about finding solutions to this issue. It's my guess these solutions will involve a blend of both looking close to home and abroad, such as engaging the First Nations community, keeping existing employees, youth retention, using our growing base of retirees, ramping up skills training in the community, and international migration. I can assure you that the Chamber will be front and center on this issue in 2013 and likely for years to come. Not only is the collective voice, but also on the ground looking for practical solutions. Concerning First Nations employment, the Chamber has created a new Aboriginal employment liaison position on staff. The officer will act as a resource to members regarding the recruitment and retention of First Nations people, cultural issues, and the development of relationships with First Nations leadership. And Tim Poitras, who is in that position, is here this evening. In November of last year, the Chamber organized the first and very successful All Nations Job Expo. The intent was to bring employers and potential employees together, particularly from the First Nations community. Because of its success, there's a plan to do another this year. A further example of being on the ground is the Chamber's linkage with the Regina Trades and Skills Centre. Our CEO, John Hopkins, is the chair of the board. The purpose of the centre is to fill the skill needs of business in a timely and efficient way. As you saw in the earlier video, the centre is in the process of moving to a new facility on Albert Street that will significantly increase its capacity and ability to match newly skilled graduates with a job. Another important undertaking for the business community in the Chamber is the Regina Revitalization Initiative. This proposal attracted a great deal of commentary and controversy in 2012. During the city's consultation process and the municipal election campaign, the Chamber publicly and unequivocally supported this initiative. We believe it offers a unique opportunity to reshape the face of the inner city by bringing badly needed land onto the market for residential and commercial development at both the CPR and the Mosaic Stadium sites. It also brings a new stadium facility that will serve the community and the Rough Riders and other users for several decades. We would like to acknowledge City Council for having moved forward on this issue in 2012, encourage you to do the same in 2013. Thank you for the work on that file. 2013 stands to be a great year for Regina. Not only will we be at or near the top of economic growth in Canada once again, but the city will again be on the national stage, not once but twice, with the Juno Awards in April in conjunction with Moose Jaw, and of course the Great Cup Festival in Game in November. I know the city and its volunteers will step up to make both these events a real success. And with that, I will finish up by thanking all member business owners and operators for the support you provide to the Chamber. It's what allows that all-important collective voice that's been at work for 127 years to occur and to be heard. Thank you.